Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So today what I want to do is talk about armatures. Great thing about copper bearing motors is they are found in all types of appliances and electronics, a lot of vacuum cleaners, and unfortunately I have had some of my fellow scrapper viewers comment that they no longer pick up vacuum cleaners because they believe that the copper bearing motors unfortunately have changed to aluminum windings instead of copper, and that may be so for the outer field windings, which are this part right here. But the nice thing about armatures is that all of the armatures are still made of copper. Does not matter the size of them, as you can see, definitely different sizes. So they are still a great source of scrappable material, and they are very easy to take apart. I could bring an armature in like this and get copper bearing motor price, which is about 10 to 15 cents a pound. But this is a nice bit of number 2 copper, and number 2 copper right now is going for $3.50 a pound in London, Ontario. And the great thing is that these are 100% scrappable. Even after I remove the copper, which is very easy to do, the rest of this is still going to go into my tin pile, and the bar that you see here is going to actually be steel, which is a little bit more money than tin at 6 to 7 cents a pound. Steel is about 7 to 8 cents. So the rule when we look at that is the thickness of that. This is your inner core, has to be thicker than 1/4 inch, so all of these are. And again, what I want to do today is show you how to open these. Very easy to do. I have seen some people actually throw them into the fire. Unfortunately, like this, you will not be able to get the copper out because there is a small bit of wax over this, and they are nicely, tightly bound together. So some people will throw them into the fire to remove that wax. Not very environmentally friendly, and in my opinion, very messy because it still leaves the copper burnt and a nice ash residue on your hands. And some scrap yards will actually not take copper if it's burnt. Depends on where you live. A lot of them frown on wire that has been thrown into the fire to burn off the outer plastic cable. So you do have to be careful of that. So what I'm going to do today is show you how to remove that copper winding very easily and effectively. And I do want to make sure I make a huge shout out to my dad who has taught me this method. So thank you, Dad, for that. And again, as you see behind me, I have a whole bunch of different sizes. So I got some medium size, bigger ones, thin ones, and these are very heavy. And I'm just going to take actually just 2 random ones. All of these that you see, again, the wire does come in different colors, but just to show you again, easy scratch test. There is some beautiful copper. So again, all of this copper, regardless of the color, it is all going to be number 2 copper because it is less than 16 gauge, and there is a little bit of wax on it and other, sometimes a little bit of glue or paint. But what I'm going to do, very simple, is with a hammer and my vise here, I'm actually just going to first, in order to remove that copper, I have to first remove the big bar. And the best way, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm always going to have this copper ring facing upwards. Okay, so you can see both of these, and I will do both of them just for the experiment. But all I'm going to do is just rest it in my vise like this, and I'm just going to hit this with a hammer. I always have a pair of safety glasses on just in case. And I do want to say that armatures, this one I actually found, this larger one here, this was out of this motor. This actually came out of a paper shredder. So you do find sometimes just the armature in there. There is some really nice magnets on that, so just sticks in there. So you will find them other than places like vacuum cleaners. But just going to hit it right now, put it in my vise, make sure it's in there. And again, it's loose, but it's just resting on top. There you go, just going to hit that. Now I'm just going to use a type of punch and hit it, the rest of it out. Okay, so that is the first thing. So again, this is going to go into steel, thicker than 1/4 inch. Okay, then I'm just going to actually just hit that off with a hammer. Okay, so again, using safety glasses, just going to break it, rest it on the edge of my vise here. A couple of hits. Okay, so this comes off, And this is really interesting stuff. You can see there are some cables still connected to it, but this stuff actually has a rubberized coating, and the rings are actually a little bit of copper. So here it is right here. I'm just gonna smash that, the rest of that, get that. That is copper, as I said. And just to verify, because sometimes things look like copper, but you wanna make sure you do the scratch test. As you can see, that is copper. So just a little bit of copper, does not weigh much. Again, I have to break off that rubber because if I don't, this will definitely not give me copper price. But even if there is a little bit of copper still on that, or rubber, you're gonna get number 2 price. Okay, and here are 2 of them that I'm gonna use. All I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna use my grinder, and I'm gonna grind off one side here just to remove that, just to loosen up these windings, because I cannot, if I take right now a pair of needle nose, they are still connected, so I can't really grab it. So I wanna cut this side, loosen it. Okay, so I'm gonna do that right now. And I'm just using this as a hand holder, if you will. Make sure that I'm using my gloves. And sometimes if I have to get really close to something, sometimes I am accident prone. So I can also, for the sake of this, put it into my vise. Might be probably the safer thing. Sometimes it is. But I'm just gonna do this like this. And I do wanna make sure that I catch any of the copper. But here we go. Alright, so there is a small little wax ring there still. Easy to do. I'm just going to pop that off of there. Once it cools down, it is a little hot. But now you see the inner part right there. All I'm actually going to do now is just take a punch and just start feeding it through, much like we do for the field windings. Okay, and again, there's different tools that you can use. I'm just going to use a little bit of punch just to loosen these cords. You can see they're starting to come up. Sometimes it might take a little bit of pass, but you're just loosening it, like I said, loosening these windings. I've used flathead screwdrivers as well, but again, very simple. Once you get it stuck in your vise, sometimes you got to rotate it just so it stays in again as well. Because it is circular, it might move around a little bit, but that's okay. Just gonna hit some more pieces out. There we go. Okay. There we go. So just gonna turn it over now. You're gonna see there are my windings right there. And even if I just took a pair of pliers now, thicker pliers, just gonna pull it up, feed it through. There you go. So look at that. So this is definitely some great copper, and it's just gonna come right through that winding there. But again, you definitely wanna make sure that you cut one end of these, okay? And there are some, obviously, that will still have pieces on it. This came off, this was broken off as cast aluminum. But again, the rule applies. Keep the copper crown, if you wanna call it that, aimed at the top. Okay, resting it in my vise. Okay, first thing, again, as I said, just punching it out. Hopefully this is gonna stay in there, not teeter-totter. It looks like it is, but that's okay. I'm gonna try it this way. Might work. Okay, it depends on how strong your vise is. And you will be able to work this out eventually. So a couple more cracks at that. But again, the crown is gonna stay at the top and it's just gonna feed that solid winding through. Okay, this is another one obviously that was broken off. There's little parts to it, but again, some beautiful copper inside. Okay, there again is a smaller one. Sometimes they will have this little plastic winding to it, but that's okay, because one little hit feeds it right through. Okay, so it's starting to come through right there. Poke it at the top. And again, a little bit more copper. So easy video, quick video. Again, don't pass up those vacuum cleaners anymore in copper bearing motors because, as I said, even if the field windings are aluminum, there is still the nice copper that comes out of the armature. So again, quick video. Thanks again, Dad, continuing to impress me and show me new things. I wish our luck and advice stemmed to our fishing experiences, but hey, that's okay. We still have fun and memories. So again, thank you very much for continuing to be my mentor and helping me along the way in this journey of life. So thank you again, guys. Short video, but hopefully effective and helpful. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.